There are some cars that you just know are going to be an instant hit when you put them on YouTube. This is one of those cars, the new Skoda Superb, which is actually not that new at all because the first Superb was built in 1934 and it looked a bit like this, which is quite different. I mean, it's not necessarily that much shorter because this is nearly 5 meters long. It's the Superb Combi, and today here on Nobby on Cars, in the sunniest / windiest place I've ever managed to find to film, we're going to take a look at the new one. Two different diesel engines, both 2 litre. One is almost 200 brake horsepower, 1.5 TSI mild hybrid. There's a 1.5 plug-in hybrid, which will do a range of up to 100 kilometers, possibly even higher, depending on certain things. But let's cut to the chase. It's a combi. You want to see the boot, don't you? Well, come on. Let's explore this huge boot together. The PHEV version is quite a bit down on the standard literage in this car, which is not far off 700 litres. And all the simply clever stuff that you'd expect, like hooks, removable bits, clip-on bits, flexible parcel shelf, stuff to store down below, and that below. 28 simply clever features come on the new Superb. And there's some cool bits inside. Stay watching and I'll show you. If you've ever sat into the back of one of these, I don't need to tell you about how much space there is, but there's more simply clever. So there's a phone or tablet holder that you can get for the back of these headrests. There's space down here for devices. There's USB-C charging too, and climate control. And even with the panoramic glass roof, you still get plenty of head height. You really have to come into the edge to actually get a little bit of headlining annoying you. And then if you like snoozing, look at these. You can relax against one of these on a long journey. When you're finished, just slip them back in. Absolutely delicious for a long journey. We have the tablet holder that goes here, as well as a standard duo cup holder situation. But also, I'll show you now, so you can get access to the rear of the car for the first time. What's this? It's a blanket. So there's a pouch on the back of that, which is not the easiest thing to get back into place, I'll admit that. But if you're cold on a longer journey, when you're having this snooze, you can lay this across your lap and get very, very cozy. That's genius. If someone from the company thought of that, I hope you get a pay rise. Skoda have upped the game when it comes to the front of the car. What do I mean by that? Well, you get this premium car carry-on of the seat getting closer to the steering wheel. Now, I've had a studio look at this car way back in the last quarter of 2023. If you want to get even more details about this car, you can watch the video at the end of this video. I'd really appreciate that. But we now have this 13-inch tablet. I like it and I don't like it. Here's why. Volume is on the steering wheel and that's fine, but I'd like something here. And there is space for your phone, and they've still got the nibs for opening a bottle when you're on the move. Can't show you about that one because there isn't enough. But I would like just a simple volume slider that's obvious. Like, there is this thing here, but you wouldn't even know it's a volume slider. So I don't know about that. I'd love just a simple bar. I am growing to like these very versatile physical knobs for climate control and shortcuts to air-cooled seats and heated seats and drive mode. And you just swipe across them here. You'll see them working together if you change the temperature here and sync. And that's not a new thing, but it's just nice to see the little white dot moving in tandem with the one on the left. This is quite a noisy interior if you scratch it. It's meant to resemble the front of the car. The glove box is huge, as you'd expect. You've got different drive modes. You have lots and lots of safety modes, which are always displayed on this bar at the top. Some of them you're going to want to turn off. That's just the way things are going. Not Skoda's fault, it's European legislation. We've also lost the sliding armrest, so this is huge. And don't forget, we have, it's actually, someone has blanked it out for this for some reason. But that is meant to be, oh, hang on. No. So there's meant to be washer fluid in there, and you can rub it against the screen to get rid of smudge marks, because 13 inches of smudge marks is a lot of smudge marks. You've got a glasses holder down here. That's not it, but that is. These all clip on and hook on, and, you know, on camera I'm not going to bother to try and fit them perfectly back into place, but they're good and handy. And, you know, case of where have I left that thing? Same with the car park ticket, still up there. Dash cam port up here. Glass roof, lots and lots of light. These AGR seats are very comfortable. They got extenders on the back of your thighs. Rubber pedals down below. Nice to maybe see a little bit of chrome going on there, or just metal. Good wide colour display. Also gives your nav here, if that isn't enough, just to see it on this part, which in fairness, when you have that blown up, is really, really big. It'll tell you where chargers are. You can set it up to charge overnight. It'll be nice and toasty in the morning. And it is a comfortable place to sit. The light switches, people have asked me a lot about that. They're down here. Good adjustability on the steering wheel, depending on how you like to sit. Maybe that should be electric for the price, don't know. Nice ambient lighting strip, hard to see now for this time of day, but that runs across there. And you can cover all this stuff up privacy wise if you don't want prying eyes. Keep the scrotes away, that's handy. And the drive mode selector is now up here, including one extra flick for sport mode. So everything you'd want to touch is here. There's also a bin in the passenger door. There's high-vis jackets. They have prepared you for every eventuality in the new Superb. Let's go for a drive. This is the 1.5 mild hybrid, so this has less than a 1 kilowatt-hour battery. The idea of it is it will just recharge the battery for assisting away from lights, slower moving traffic, and it will generally keep itself ticking over without you even realizing there's anything going on in the background. So this is the 1.5 petrol, and it's hard to know whether this will now be a bigger proportion of where Superb owners will go. Typically in the past, it was a given that you just go for the diesel, and that will still be the case for a lot of people. I think you want to get into your car and see that there's well over 1,000 kilometers range. Not that you're ever doing 1,000 kilometers without stopping. This car is more like around 800 to 900 kilometers, according to the guessometer anyway. And it's very quiet. It's a 4-cylinder engine, but when it doesn't need to use all 4 cylinders, you'll see it drop down to 2-cylinder mode, and then it's doing like 2 liters per 100 kilometers. So this is like 40, 50 kilometer an hour. Not stop-start traffic, but slow-moving traffic. And while it doesn't have as much torque as the diesel variant, it never really struggles. Like, it is a big car, it's a heavy car. Definitely nice to have the extra power from the full PHEV.
Slide right in 500 meters and continue to follow the N6.
But unless you're doing length and breadth of the country regularly and you're going to want to have that reserve power for overtaking, I think most people will be happy enough with this. Certain models of the car will also get the 2-valve damping, which is in the past dynamic chassis control. Now they're calling it something pro, getting mixed up between the Passat version and the Superb version. Ideally, it gives you the best of both worlds. Firm when it needs to be, soft when it needs to be, but it can do the opposite end of those at higher speeds and slower speeds, where traditionally it would just be hard and firm and set up for a sporty drive. It's a low seating position. I'd almost say it nearly feels coupe like, if that makes sense. You're really quite low down to the ground. It feels like a wide car because it is a wide car. This car is, you know, touching on the 5 meters if you get the combi version, which, like, why wouldn't you? But it's very smooth. Now, I am on good roads today here in Portugal. I should mention that, but it's very, very comfortable. The odd pothole with these 19-inch alloys, you do get a nasty thud as you go over them. That horrible feeling when you're like, have I just cracked a wheel? That's happened once or twice today on the test route. And the car is intelligent enough that it will tell you to coast. It'll tell you when you're coasting. It'll tell you if you need power. It'll tell you when to lift off. It's all about saving fuel. A little bit of an uphill now, an incline. Bit of noise from the engine, but it doesn't sound bad or anything. And again, there's enough torque there that after a couple of seconds you're lifting off again because you're grand. Averaging about just under 7 litres per 100 kilometers currently. You will better that a little bit in the plug-in hybrid. Obviously, if you charge that all the time and your journey does not exceed sort of 100 kilometers, maybe 80 kilometers, depending on temperatures, then you'll do 0 emissions. But if you're doing a mix where you're using the battery and the petrol engine in the plug-in hybrid, I'd imagine you're going to get somewhere around 2 litres per 100 kilometers. So there's still potentially a saving of 5 litres of fuel per 100 kilometer if you go for the plug-in hybrid version. Skoda are hoping that the difference between this 1.5 mild hybrid and the plug-in hybrid will be about €3,000. They've managed to negotiate 3,000 for the new Kodiaq, so they're hoping that they'll get similar from HQ for this new Superb, which would be interesting. It's not a huge jump. Traditionally, that gap has been quite big. Even going around these roundabouts is not a huge amount of body roll. You do feel the wheels trying to grip under hard acceleration. It will also be a 4x4 version of the car. I don't imagine it's selling in any big numbers in Ireland, but generally Skoda will be fairly flexible. If you want a special order, you'll be able to do it, where in some brands it's just a case of, no, that's not coming to Ireland, sorry. Much like the Passat from Volkswagen. Do not adjust your mobile device. Yes, the leather interior has changed colour and the sunroof has disappeared, but the reason for this is in the interest of public service YouTube broadcasting. I've jumped into the 2-litre diesel. It's just shy of 200 brake horsepower. Now, this is the version of the Superb that could be the most expensive version to buy. So we have 4x4 power, we have loads and loads of torque as soon as you plant it. I mean, there is a little bit more urgency to it than the 1.5. That is to be expected, but the 1.5 is a lot quieter. It's the more refined car, and I think the whole point of the Superb now is it's got a serious level of premium feel to it. Would it suit a more refined, quieter petrol engine better? That's just my question. The DSG gearbox is very, very quick, as usual, as expected. You don't feel gear changes. It's not blister. To be honest with you, I would have expected it to have a bit more urgency torque-wise than it has. That's not a colour, by the way, torque-wise. Let's just check out the fuel economy now as well, because that's also important. Would you guess 7.3 litres per 100 kilometres? So it's actually, according to this, and it's covered 400 kilometres to get that figure, that's the same as the 1.5 TSI. Isn't that interesting? That would suggest it makes absolutely no sense, apart from a little bit more power, of course. So you could look at it that way. It's achieving the same, or in and around the same fuel economy for more power. And it'll go further on a tank of juice. but it's going to be heavier up front because it's got a heavier diesel engine up there. Again, the characteristics of handling of this car are not orientated towards a sporty drive as such. So again, I really don't know if that's going to make much of a difference, whether it's got a heavier nose on the diesel or not. This particular car is L&K. I'm not sure if we're going to even get that spec in Ireland. It's always the most premium of setups. The cognac leather, which is the name of this colour. Interesting enough though, the glass roof is now gone. Get different wheels in this car as well. Yeah, this is definitely a case of, do you need 4x4? Probably not. And that's another point actually. That fuel economy with a 4x4 is pretty good. But if you want comfort, the petrol is it's a more relaxing car. Particularly if your driving is going to involve stop-start, and you know they're the things you probably wouldn't be interested in a big diesel if you were doing that kind of driving. This is if you're crossing countries, maybe living in mainland Europe and not Ireland, maybe having the option of a bit of snow. Although it's you know generally wet in Ireland, so the extra grip is no bad thing. But I actually think the refinement throughout the Superb suits the 1.5 better. Shots fired. A planted car, nicely sitting on the road, good road holding, seems to be decent fuel economy, and a comfortable space for you to plonk yourself into. If longer journeys are your thing, then I'm quickly getting a sense that this would be a nice car to do those types of journeys in. Nothing remarkable in terms of driving, you know, there's nothing, it does what it says on the tin type car. Long journeys, fit the family in, do it relatively efficiently, or as efficiently as a car this size can manage, and just crack on with the job. So I'm not surprised that, you know, this is the way this Superb drives. Nothing out of the ordinary, very predictable, very dependable, solid, you might say, very, very solid. Anyway, time for a summary. Before we go today, I don't know how to break this to you. Don't worry, the scraper's still here. They've changed the colour of it. Someone's gone off script and changed it. It's not green anymore, it's grey. God's sake. That's it. I want to go home now. That's just ruined it for me. On a serious note, this is one of the most complete cars I've ever driven. I don't say that lightly. The Skoda fanboy in me will say, yeah, Nobby, of course you're going to say that. But no, I would take this over the new Kodiaq, and that's bloody good. I would take this over the Passat, because it's just got different levels of quirkiness. And anyway, we can't get the Passat in Ireland, so who cares? This is the all-rounder. It will do everything. It will carry everything. It is just such a complete set of wheels. The price I don't have right now, but if you subscribe to the channel and you like the video and you check the comments, as soon as I have the price, I'll post details down below. I'm going to hedge my bets and say, I think I'm going to be for the top spec. You can get L&K, Sportline. I think it could be 60 grand. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. What are your guesses for down below for the price? Leave one and let me know what you think of the superbest Superb that Skoda have ever made. Fact. Thanks for watching.